What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with a quick Dark Dimension 6 overview video in regards to some useful tips. And I think this will help in terms of if you guys are planning to start Dark Dimension 6 or kind of navigating towards that entry point of resource management. We're going to be talking about that and some common issues and mistakes that we've seen, but as well, hopefully this can help you guys plan better. So having said that, guys, first and foremost, before you even get into the nitty-gritty details of leveling and bringing your characters up, know that that is like a goal that you want to hit, right? For example, we have a multitude of different game modes of Alliance, Cosmic Crucible, Arena is a really big one, especially now with the Secret Defenders being part of the meta. You need to understand what those goals are, because at the end of the day, with Dark Dimension 6, it's a massive marathon, and you'll be pulling a lot of resources for this game mode. And if you do that, the real reality is that if you're free to play like myself, you're gonna find bottlenecks in the way that you want to bring up your characters. You can only bring them to a certain point. There's obviously only a finite amount of resources in the game, so you do need to be strategic on what you want your goal to be, and then that way set that as your goal and priority, and then you can also focus on that, so that way you are going to be happy with the decisions you make. So I only bring this up because we all know that with Secret Defenders, they are a massive meta change right now, usable in practically all game modes. And the beautiful thing about this team is that many of these characters are actually viable for Dark Dimension 6 as well. But I think the number one mistake we've seen so far, seeing this sexy new team, is that folks are building up this team first to gear tier 17 or 18. And then finding that there's going to be a really quick bottleneck already from the get-go. So what I mean by this is, as you guys can see here, the Secret Defenders is a great synergistic team of materials. We have Photon here requiring Bio, Robbie Reyes here being Mystic, Black Cat being Skill, Miss Marvel Hardlight being a Mutant, and then Doctor Strange also being Mystic. If you bring up this full team, it's not a team that you can fully utilize from the get-go in Dark Dimension 6. The exception is the 2 nodes in the very beginning. Unless if you're planning to bring that whole team up, you can use them for the full 2 nodes. But shortly afterwards, there's very important characters that we need to have. And I'm going to link that in the description below here, guys. I made a video on the 5 most high-value important characters for Dark Dimension 6. And that still holds true, even knowing how valuable the Secret Defenders are. And one of those characters, one of those like linchpins, if you will, putting it all together, is Apocalypse, right? He is without a doubt probably the MVP of Dark Dimension 6. The fact that he can be utilized in 3 different sections if you maximize the initial area, the fact that you don't even need a big Apocalypse to actually be able to get through it. I actually use the same baby Apocalypse here to get through all the global nodes. The reason I bring this up is because if you're focused on Miss Marvel Hardlight and you bring her up to gear tier level 18, you might find that you're going to be conflicting directly with the resources that you need to actually bring up Apocalypse. And although Miss Marvel Hardlight has amazing value in the game, she's usable in all game modes, without question, Apocalypse is the most important character of Dark Dimension 6. So just something to keep in the back of your mind if you guys are building them up. Another good tip as well is if you guys are just, I'm not saying don't build up your Secret Defenders and by any means, right? That's exactly what I'm doing now that I'm gone through a majority of the Dark Dimension 6 nodes. I am bringing this team up, but the thing is that if you're planning to bring up a certain team that you want to utilize in Dark Dimension 6, don't take them to gear tier level 18 unless you're fully ready for that section. So for example, I was ready to partake in Cosmic, so therefore I was ready to bring Photon to gear tier 18, and she was absolutely amazing. And first node absolutely crushed it with her. Great value, even at low yellow stars, doing really good. So defeats the myth that you need them performing at high yellows. They can still get the job done, obviously more squishier with the lower yellow stars. But having said that, only bring up the characters that you want to gear tier level 18 only if you are ready to enter into that section. So for example, the Cosmic, my 5 Cosmic characters were ready, and that's why I was able to pull the trigger and bring up Photon. Having said that, that means we can be more conservative, right? You can still build up your Secret Defenders over time here, or you can build them up if you want them to be a priority in Arena. But unless you're ready to enter that specific Dark Dimension 6 section, do not take them to gear tier 18, right? 18 is the hardest one because of all the bottlenecks that we have with those uniques, and as well the specific materials that you actually need to bring from 17 to 18. So Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider here, and Miss Marvel Hardlight are two great examples because they can both be viable options in the city section. But again, my advice is beyond that, is that if you are planning to bring both of these characters into the city nodes, make sure you have the full city team ready to go and all your resources have been met. Thankfully, MarvelStrikeForce.com does have a useful Dark Dimension 6 planner, so I definitely urge you guys to check it out. I'll try to link it if I can. I just don't know if the link usually goes straight there, but it's a planner essentially that tells you what resources you need and if you're ready to go, and that's when I would pull the trigger, right? So that way, at the same time, you can still be leveling an effective team that you want to use for value in other game modes, but also not bottleneck or pinch yourself in those situations where you do need that said character for an earlier section. A character such as Apocalypse, right? And the other reason I bring this up is because there's other important aspects of Dark Dimension 6 outside of Apocalypse. Val is another big one, right? You 100% want Val in the Cosmic section, but let's say, for instance, you utilize the Mystic Gear on both Robbie Reyes and as well as Doctor Strange. Well, it's going to be really hard to get access to Val just because, Val also costs a lot of materials to bring in, but Val's an absolute must-have, and I would say even required for the Cosmic. Val's the Apocalypse essentially equivalent of the Cosmic section, and that's why you 100% need to bring Val in. And again, it's all about just kind of being mindful of those resources, making sure you're not making those mistakes, if you will, because there isn't a right or wrong to the number of characters you want to bring into Dark Dimension 6, but there is a efficient and more effective way in the order you bring up these characters. And like I said, the big one being that gear tier 17 and 18, just because they need the TO gears and the materials, and you just don't want to be bottlenecking yourself where you have these characters that can provide value beforehand. Obviously, the exception is if you just don't care and you want to slowly get into Dark Dimension 6, but your priority is, getting top 5, top 10 in Arena, then 100% you guys should build it up, right? But I think this advice is really useful if only your focus, or you're trying to prioritize Dark Dimension 6 efficiency, but at the same time also building up, characters that are effective in all other game modes for your usage. So just something I've noticed, guys. Hopefully this helps you guys in terms of managing resources. And like I said, please check out my video below where I do walk through some of the more powerful and must-have characters if you guys are planning to progress further. I've had success with them as well. On top of that, please check out the MarvelStrikeForce.com Dark Dimension Planner. It's absolutely huge. You can preview how your characters and resources are going to look before you even gear tier them, so you know what to look for in the stores and the farm. Thank you as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.